The light is blinking, and that means it's time to leave the safe house and pod about Andor. This week, we dig into episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Season 2 and parse through all the character arcs and events. Early in the episode, Grant shares a major theory about our favorite Antiquarian. This is a Cantina Chronicle you will not want to miss. Let's go! Welcome to another week of Cantina Chronicles. For those of you that are first-time listeners, we've had a bunch of them this week. We are a weekly Cantina crawl across all Star Wars galaxy, across the whole Star Wars galaxy, all of it, where we have scintillating conversations about all things Star Wars, including news, notes, and theory, synthesizing all media. We are Grant, Adam, and I am Ben, and this is the landing pad for all things Star Wars. Grant and Adam, how the heck are you guys? How you doing?
Good. Can't wait to talk Andor.
That's right. Yeah. Next 3 episodes, 4, 5, and 6 right now. Ever been to Gorman? I have friends everywhere. What a festive evening. We're going to cover those 3 episodes. Totally stoked to have more Andor in my veins. I feel spoiled. Each week it's just, you have 3 more episodes. And this was almost like 3 hours. These were 3 long episodes.
They were long. Yeah. It's like, here's another movie. Just every week. Here you go. Just enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was staying up late at night watching this and just riveted by every scene, just blown away by 4, 5, 6. These episodes are incredible.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a different tone from the first. I know I had about 1 million notes from the first arc, and I have less for this one. I think because everything was so new and we didn't know what direction they were going in. I'm gonna just do a mea culpa right off the bat. I had really predicted, because I'm so smart and was watching Rebels, and I'm like, I know what's gonna happen because I watched Rebels, and this is like
you're going to Gorman.
Yeah, I was so wrong, and I think it's like a major flaw. I'm so basic. I'm just like, there's gonna do this lore drop and that lore drop, and this isn't that show. And so, I'm on the wrong trail, but I was still.
I do think it's getting pretty dense right now. Like, we are really getting into the sort of political espionage and sort of political dealings of all the factions right now, including the Rebels and Luthen and Cassian, who we're rooting for, and Bix. But it's super interesting. Like, it's fun to now really get into the politics, and I just worry about some viewers, but other than that, like, I feel like just hold on for the ride, because we're about to like really discover the birth of the rebellion, and basically like the mastermind and leader of the rebellion in Mon Mothma, which is going to be so interesting for everyone to see that this is basically the leader of the ultimate revolution of all time, and also this is the best revolutionary show on TV. I've ever seen.
100% agree. Like, it is amazing how. I mean, it's Star Wars, right? Star Wars just takes things from the past, recycles them, reuses them, reconnects them. Like, the amount of historical analogies in just this 3-episode arc is fascinating.
And French Resistance.
Exactly.
Incredibly
it's
done.
Just a French Resistance
incredibly well here. Whereas for an episode of Skeleton Crew where we got a similar thing, and then this is sort of branched out and expanded upon, and they're also very couture culture, as Tony Gilroy would say. Like, they're just all about fashion and sort of design,
like
and
France, Italy,
and Cassian's sort of like alter ego, or the chosen identity for that planet. Varian Sky, and like the look was just like, they were like, you don't stand out at all. I think they said it to Cyril too after he's completely manicured himself. They're like, this is just a high design, high art society, and it was really, really cool, and it was also just based on France, and it was just wonderful.
And this is, again, and we talked about it before we jumped on, about how like this series, and most series, but this series benefits from rewatching. I watched the first 3 episodes Tuesday night, and then my wife went to bed after the first one, so I watched 2 and 3 again the next night with her. And when I got done with the first arc the first time, I liked it. I mean, I was on board, but I was kind of like, I don't know, because I was so high on the first 3. And then after watching the second time, I'm like, I love this. I think this is amazing. Like, I'm so on board. And the thing is, like, this arc feels like this is the Empire Strikes Back arc of this, right? This is where everyone has lost their way. They are all burnt out and done with this of not knowing where they're going. This is the birth of the rebellion because everyone is frustrated with not moving forward. Like it feels like they've been stuck for a year and they're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And they're all losing their minds. And I kind of love how tense it is. And like, we were just like waiting. I was like, Carla was like, I could not, that last episode or the second episode, she's like, I was just waiting for Luthen to kill Bix. Like, and they set that up, right?
Oh, what?
Yeah, because think about what he was doing in the last arc was totally like, well, this person is is a possible threat, so I'm going to take her out. I'm going to take him out, right? And so you're kind of watching that, going, why is he visiting her when she's alone? Why is he doing this stuff? Like, I didn't think that was going to happen, but I could totally see Carly just like super tense.
There's so many. I just feel like larger like concepts and like philosophies that are like overarching all of this. Like, when I see that, it's sort of like an iterative revolution versus like big swing revolution. And it's like, you can't like an iterative revolution isn't a successful one. There needs to be a large one. And then how that like works with couples and, you know, like, it's just sort of like, is there room for love in the revolution? And I feel like that actually like parallels the whole like Jedi path where it's like, you can have a relationship, but you can't have attachment in a revolution.
Yep.
And, you know, it was like a tale of two relationships. We got, you know, Vel and Cinta, and then we've got Cassian and Bix. Yeah. And sort of, they're both sort of just trying to get through. And to a lesser extent, you know, Mon Mothma and Vel, it's her cousin, and she's asking, you know, like, what about that? And but there's just I think a lot of cool, like just philosophy sort of things going on in this. So
Grant has a huge theory that I want to get to at some point. So I want to hear that theory before I have a theory, because I don't want to like.
Okay.
I don't want to cut you off on your. I want to say one thing before that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to talk about the alignment of Luthen and Rail. Because you kind of insinuate that like maybe he's there. I guess you said that he was there to take out Bix or something like that, or eliminate Bix. Yeah. I didn't get that read at all. I have a kind of a different theory about Luthen Rail, and I feel like we could probably save it towards the end of the show, but like I'll just throw it up here now because I feel like it's super fun. But I almost feel like Luthen's antiquarian persona is built for an in-person meeting with Palpatine. This is the theory. I think it's almost designed for that. Because I think Palpatine loves artifacts. I think he's designed his entire personality to actually get in a room, you know, in person with Emperor Palpatine and try to cut the head off the snake, essentially. Yeah. And that's almost like the ultimate fate for Luthen Rail. And like, I don't think you can win because I think Palpatine would just kind of see into his thoughts or something like that. It would be an incredible sort of like abstract, maybe like monologue about something in history. And then I think Palpatine would win, right? Or something. It's like,
I think that might be how Luthen Rail dies.
It's like perfect for Luthen Rail.
It would be a perfect death for Luthen, is to just like, you know, finally meet his match there with the Emperor.
Right. Yeah, that's what he wants, right? That's secretly that's why he feels like there's an urgency to everything he's doing almost. It's almost like I almost attribute that to this weird urgency. It's like, and you guys are talking about everyone's kind of at their wit's end, essentially. Yeah. And losing their minds because they're like, who are the leaders amongst this rebellion? Like Mon Mothma's still kind of in hiding and
she's still trying to play the Senate
game and push the Senate. And you have Saw Gerrera and the partisans who are just ready to bomb anywhere that's an Imperial armory. And then Imperial garrison. Exactly. He's just like ready to just like destroy every Imperial garrison that's ever built anywhere.
Bunch of Gluthoffers,
but they're also they're incredibly immoral and will just kill one another, and it's very scary amongst their that sort of revolutionary branch. That's why Cassian and Bix and feel like the Truth and Brasso, like that felt like here we go. Here's the heart of the rebellion. And Mon Mothma also feels like the leader we need. And once she breaks free of the Senate and trying to do things under Palpatine's rule, she'll be able to basically be, move big pieces on the map. And the Mon Cala, we haven't, I don't know, like anything with the Mon Cala at any point that would be coming up. I'm just like, I'm not ready, honestly. It's like, it's going to be too much. It's going to be like, we are going to fight the Empire. Like, I was like, finally, we have like a crew to fight the Empire. Like,
I think, Grant, your theory dovetails with my theory a little bit, and Ben kind of circled around a little bit. Luthen's ex-Jedi.
Luthen's lover could have been a Jedi or something like that.
Because
Like the
he's
Jedi
trying to
kill him
destroy
or
attachments. He
disappear.
doesn't believe there should be no attachments. He has the
You
Jedi.
think he's an actual Force sensitive, Adam?
So Adam, I also have a different read on that too. I think he's actually just trying to separate. I have a different read on that. I don't think he's trying to ruin attachments. I actually think he's about separating everyone as individuals to be leaders after he does attempt to kill the Emperor. Like, I think that, like, if there, I know this is a crazy theory. This is just spawning off the theory, but like the theory is because he should be painted as the ultimate hero, almost like the proto Luke. It's like the thing. It's actually the person who was Luke Skywalker in a major way at a time period in which you needed someone to create an incredible hinging maneuver to Luke Skywalker.
No, I think you're right about that. I think at the end of the day, what we're going to learn is that he's the catalyst. To steal another Rogue One term or previous Rogue One novel that starts this whole thing. But it's Mon Mothma who needs to take it over the finish line because she can organize. Like Luthen can't run. Luthen is not capable of organizing a full rebellion. He's operative. He runs operatives.
That's interesting you said that because like Grant was like, talking about Mon as like the organizer of the rebellion. But like, if you're just taking this show right now, Luthen's running the show. Mon is just really nipping around the heels and like the edges. And we don't even really know her full involvement other than just being a senator and being a pest.
But you're just waiting for her, right? You're waiting for her to step up.
Right. But like Luthen's the leader of the rebellion right now, essentially. I mean, he's the facilitator
of one of the rebellions.
I think there's a rebellion on all fronts. And Krennic in the end of the episode, everyone has their rebellion. But
Luthen has his fingers in all the pies. Like he's talking to all the players. Like that's why we get
he's the most well connected, but that's his power, right? His power is networking and being like the rebel network guy.
Yeah.
And Mon Mothma's like actually giving them funding it, basically. I don't know. It's two different fronts.
What are you all basing that on? Because I've only seen him talk to about 4 different people in this entire show. He talks to Cassian. He talks to
he has Lonnie
people
Young.
that were on there.
That's all he needs.
No,
I'm basing Lonnie, and then he talks to Ma. I don't know how big his circle actually is.
I'm basing.
He's in the ISP. He's basically controlling.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying he's not effective. I just don't know how many people he's actually running. How many operations?
I'm taking it off of that scene. I think it was from the second episode. I have friends everywhere. Where, I mean, it says he has friends everywhere, and that's the password they all use. But other than that, I think when we get that scene that's frayed with him and Clea in the back room, and they're like, he's like lost his mind because he has too many like plates spinning at the same time. I think it all runs through him. And it's like, at this point, Mon, like she's really just the financier and, you know, and a pest, even though, we know her and Saw.
No, she's the purse. She's the money. Yeah.
But like, that's nothing. Like the guy that's actually mobilizing all these units and doing like these actionable like things is all run by Luthen. So I think it's more than what we're seeing. Like they have a pretty tight circle of what we're looking at, but That's what I'm being off. And I think that I don't know. We know from Rebels there are other factions. Maybe he's like, oh, who's Commander Sato? And like, there's so in season 3 of Rebels, like they have a big meeting, like where they are, where all of these different factions kind of come together with the Rebels and Mon Mothma is part of that. So it's like that clearly hasn't happened yet, because Mon, that was like right after the Mon extraction, and the extraction clearly hasn't happened yet. But I really think Luthen's the center of the circle that like knows.
Well, they don't have a red and blue wings, like they don't have fighter squadrons yet. Like I haven't seen like a sort of rebel, organized rebel. Army assembled.
That's what I mean. I think you did in Rebels, and it's like as super fans and synergizing all this stuff, it's like that's all going on, and that's all connected to Luthen and what's going on here. They're different like spokes of the wheel, but it's like I think Luthen's the center of the wheel.
Or there are fighter pilots alluded to though, like already in the show.
We saw X-wings with
and on Gorman basically. Cassian tells the Gorman front that like there was a rebel pilot that was downed here and gave you this communication device. And
I don't think there is a center. I think you have military operations running through Sato. I think you have spy craft operations running through Luthen. I think you have just militaristic guerrilla warfare running through Saw, and I don't think they're talking to each other at all. And I think that's what Mon's going to do. Mon's going to become the center that pulls all of this together. That's my theory. Is I think Luthen's being very effective at what he's doing, but he's a spy master. That's
I think Mon has a
this is Tinker Tailor Soldier spy stuff, right? Like he's running that spy organization, but he's not running military operations.
And I mean, that's really what happens as Rebels is like there's a definitive meeting to bring everyone together.
And I think
which is what I thought I'd see this week, and I was disappointed that I did not see that because it would have been awesome. Yeah. But maybe we see it next week. Maybe we don't see it at all.
Do we miss it? Is that too late though? Because we know it's going to jump a year in the
Technically, if it jumps a year, they're on Yavin, and it's like in the whole rebellion is going full tilt.
Yeah, which is maybe we do that, which is odd if we just do that in the show. We don't see one more. I feel like we need one more step before we get there, but I don't know.
I know, and this has kind of moved relatively slowly. It's sort of like we're talking about Gorman. We know we're forewarned about Gorman.
Well, there's also the Gorman massacre that was talked about in the show. I mean,
we're gonna see it, right? I mean, not see it.
No, it already happened.
That one happened.
Well,
that one happened. Tarkin,
Tarkin. Did you? That was incredible. I mean, do you guys want to talk about these episodes chronologically? Because like, I almost want to go back and like get into stuff.
But I kind of wanted to talk. I mean, last week we talked about it more along like arcs. This one they interact a little more. I'd say just talk about whatever you want to talk about, and then ultimately we'll clean it up. I think with arcs.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe we should start with the Saw arc because I just thought, of course, that one stole the show and blew my mind, and almost like let's just talk about that first because it almost felt like its own standalone sort of like little story that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's happening now, which was all about Willman building a sort of large scale like bomb for Saw and teaching his guys, and it was an incredible little mini arc, and like those are my favorite scenes I think in the episode. Honestly, I loved the Saw.
I could not stand those scenes. Hold on, I could not. No. Let me finish. I could not stand those scenes the first time I watched through because I'm like, it was just going all over the place, and I'm like, back and forth, and suddenly we hear it. I'm like, so what are they doing? Like, I couldn't follow what they were doing because there's so much techno garble.
You know what it does to your lungs?
Techno babble, and then you have like Saw Gerrera saying Saw Gerrera stuff, which is like, it's like Yoda if Yoda was on like paint thinner, like was huffing paint thinner, and so like,
no, how dare you? This is
and so
this is our guy. He's right.
He's great. He's great.
Correct, almost in everything he does.
I might push back on some of that, but.
Sorry. He's a little bit militant. He's slightly militant.
I love him. I love him as a character. Second time through, loved it. I'm 100% where you are, Grant. Like second time through, that was the stuff that was dialing.
As a fictional space militant partisan guy,
awesome. One of the best Star Wars characters.
Sorry, guys. I just at the Ryan.
No, I love how they gave him more backstory, and there's just like. Because Saw Gerrera is a very interesting character. He's not really just one way. It's like you need to. It's like no, he's not a good guy. Like, they need to, like, I know you love like Forrest Whitaker, and we all love Forrest Whitaker. It's like he's not a good guy though. Like he's kind of bad, and they're in the wrong. And it's like, well, people are being calculated and like and surgical with their strikes on one side. There's Saw Gerrera that's just like, we're gonna blow everything.
He's crossing the line from freedom fighter to terrorist, right? He seems to be like inching past that line. I mean, we saw him in Rebel Rising. Remember in Rebel Rising, he like lets off like an improvised bomb in a wedding with like a Fletch device that just like tears through
the Antar atrocity.
Just horrible.
Actually has to happen at some point. Horrible. The show has to abut that in some way. The Flechette killings.
I think it's past. I think it's past it, right?
The Birch Teller organization.
I think this is doing that work, and also if you saw Rebels, they also make an attempt at sort of telling that he's not really the best dude, but like his intentions are right, and like So I feel like this is Andor's turn at being, like okay, we need to sort of describe what you're really getting here with Saw. He's more than just like the cripple we see in Rogue One. Wasn't
Idressa in that book too? Like that was a character in the Flechette killings on Inusagi.
Who's Anessa?
Idressa? I don't know.
Idressa. I think it happened later because what's her name has joined up with. Oh no!
Saw looks young. Saw looks good.
So does he have to use that oxygen thing? Because
not yet. He's not burned
because he's huffing rhydonium. That's exactly what it is. So Carly was watching, going. I was waiting.
Is it rhydonium in the mask?
Oh, maybe.
No.
I assumed his burnt his lungs
autism,
out.
it's just right.
Isn't
that would
this
be
bomb
amazing.
going to go off and going to burn his lungs out? Isn't it going to happen in the show?
or
Isn't that
he's
the
just-
narrative of the show? The narrative of the show is to burn his lungs out. I mean, he's
That's
like,
what Carly was
I
saying.
think he's just huffing Rhydonium. That's just drugs.
It gets even more, dude. I don't know, just his rhetoric and just it's the best.
Oh, it's
the
so
best,
well written.
Period. It's just my favorite stuff in the show.
So imagine if you're Carly. So first you're watching the show, waiting for Bix to get murdered. Then you're watching it, waiting for a bomb to explode because she's like, I know what he looks like in Rogue One. He's going to get blown up. Like she was just waiting this entire episode for him to get blown up. So Carly's just sitting there for like, she loved it, but she's sitting there for 2 hours just going, like just waiting for bad stuff to happen.
Yeah. That's what I was left after that being like, I just think he's huffing like Rhydonium.
I love that take.
It's just recreational. It's not even
he gets hit by like a wave of like terrain that's being torn up by the Death Star. That's just
a tidal wave of Earth.
What an end.
What an end.
Huff some Rhydonium, just like meets his end.
He's just like I mean they're making him
Death Star. Yeah,
closer and closer to what's his name from Blue Velvet. Like I feel like
I love that
nitrous.
That Rebels episode too with Saw is out of control. Where he's just like, there's a secret here. There's a weapon like somewhere in like this sector.
Really close.
He's really keen that there's a Death Star somewhere over here.
So close. He's just sniffing around it this entire time. So the thing that he said a line, and I don't remember the exact quote in this, that actually made me sad. I almost like not really actually cried, but like really hit me in the gut, which is when he's talking about Rhydonium. He refers to Rhydonium as my sister. Do you remember that line? He calls Rhydonium my sister. Which is, if we know in his arc is like his sister is the person he's rebelling against, right? And dies, right? I think in
Stila, she's a huge character.
Way early
back on
that poor man is like mourning his sister and referring to this gas that gets him high and crazy as his sister. Like it's such a great line where I'm like, oh, that's good.
Or I don't like
connected. You don't need to know that, but it adds levels because it just sounds weird and off anyway. But then you add it to his like backstory. It's such a great little like that's why Tony Guerrero is just amazing. Just like that little line. Like that's
isn't Rhydonium a
it's fuel. Like if you because I had to go on Wikipedia after this because I'm like I know I've heard that before. I don't remember people getting high off of it and all this stuff, but it's just one of those things where
speaking of drug use in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, you want to go? Yeah, lots of
Bix is just like doing the drops like the Batman movie.
My least favorite storyline and
it's a lot and then my read also was like Luthen was like what's going on, like is there like maybe spying or something and knows this is happening, and then they even talk about it. It's just I feel like that's interesting for Star Wars to go there, and it makes sense. Like PTSD, this is something that's a real issue that like they're really shining a light on, is that there's a lot of substance usage and dependency on after you've gone through serious trauma, and it makes perfect sense. It's like exactly a lot of this is parallel to what happens after a traumatic event.
Super tough to watch, but makes sense.
It's hard to watch, and it's just sort of like her on a like she's queen of the castle for a couple nights, and it's just like mattress on the floor.
Is it a castle or is it Luthen's old apartment? It's like Luthen's old like spy apartment.
Spy safe house. You get a very nostalgic Luthen through this whole thing where he's just kind of like, I miss the simplicity of just being like an agent in the field.
But like 20,000 times more gravelly.
Yes, right. Yeah, so much. So I'm looking for two things to happen in the third arc. The first is, as we talked about before, the second you're happy, you're dead. Right? We lost 2. I'm waiting. If like second you're a happy couple, you're dead. Happens. It's going to happen. The second thing I'm looking for is, are they going to show how a character is feeling through how they are reclining or lying on a bed? It's the second time they've done this in an arc. So Cyril Karn in the first one, I love that. We talked about that last week of just that thing where they cut to him lying on bed. Quick side note, that was improvised. He improvised that. I don't know if you saw, there's a whole behind the scenes with him improvising how he's lying.
He was face down on the bed.
That was the actor's. That was the actor's choice, and they're like, this is amazing, and shot it.
You're talking about episode 2, though, right? Like, or
episode 2, of the first arc, And so they so when Deirdre, the actress who plays Deirdre, watched that, she lost it in the theater because she didn't see that shot, and she's like, that was the best thing I ever saw. So full related to that, I fully related to Bix lying there watching like Good Morning Coruscant, which we could talk about for an hour.
Hilarious, and we need to talk about that.
Because as a person
the HoloNet and the Holo,
throughout his entire 20s suffered from insomnia, like related to that. I just so many nights I remember sitting there in my bed, like looking like that as I'm watching like the sun come up and whatever's on television. Just hard relate. I wasn't like sniffing, taking drops or anything, but like totally related. But like seriously, it's so weird how things repeat, or interesting how things are repeating in this. So.
I ran into those two ladies in the hallways back when we were with Core World News. Actually, we saw they're very nice. Turns out they're lovely.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, state-run media. Who knew? It's still nice people.
Yeah, they were. How we ran our brand, they would be down the hall like that. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like that's
they're like, how are both of your listeners?
Our news station was that definitely that show was there. That show was definitely on a soundstage right next door.
Totally. That those are the days, man. That gave me such holiday special vibes, like Star Wars holiday special vibes. I loved it. Yeah,
just watching cheesy TV.
Yeah. So and just like the way they were dressed and everything.
Yeah, my favorite part about that arc though is that it does start super dire, and like this show is so dark and everything's leading towards it, but like it comes out actually triumphant. Like
there's catharsis at the end.
I love how this show just there's never a scene where we know more than the characters do. In fact, the characters I think are probably a little ahead of most of the people watching it, because like what Luthen was trying to do, like I think he does try to separate couples because they're easier to manage, and like you don't have to have, that love attachment that's like no, your motivation should be the cause, not your loved one. Like I think he's just like those like attachments are weaknesses.
And I got that read too. Like he wants to push leaders out. And the leaders will branch out the rebellion, and the rebellion's an idea.
Yeah, he can get the most out of you if you have no other attachments and doing all that.
Because you're going to be a whole contingent. Yeah.
And I think he believes you're right. I think he believes in that, where he's like Cinta and Vel. Cinta and Vel. I think part of it is also like they're both leaders, and they're going to do better apart they're going to have more impact apart than together. Right.
But I think Cassian sees right through that. Like he went and shook him down and was like, what are you really doing? But I think just to like really verify like what, is going, and and I think he does, so it's like and even Bix sees through it. She's just sort of like, she's like, what if he wants us to have this discussion right now? And like, and he knows it. He's like, no, Luthen doesn't do this for like an accident. And he just sees through it. And they're like, he's like, okay, then, but this was their whole like journey, was sort of like, we're not happy. We hate doing this. And Bix says, if I'm going to give up everything, I want to win. And so it's like Bix's full buy-in. And I think also the realization that it's like, we can do this, but we just have to assume, like, we have to put the cause first and understand that one of us is probably going to die someday. And that's okay.
Yeah. And it'll be Cassian.
Well, it might be both of them. Yeah. One of them has to die first.
Well, yeah. And it could be Cassian though. Cause I was talking to Carly about this. I'm like, if Luthen actually is successful in breaking them apart, doesn't that mean that Bix might just be on some other mission?
I don't think they're not gonna break apart though. I think that last mission, was to set her straight, and Luthen did put them on that mission, but I think they're okay with it.
Yeah.
I think that last mission was so touching.
No, I think you could be right. I think you could be right. I think Bix is going to leave him. I think Bix is going to start seeing herself as a liability to Cassian, because all the decisions Cassian's making around him, and she's going to take herself out of it. I think also the discussion at the beginning of the episode might play to the theme of their relationship, which is that Cassian killed a soldier. That Bix was like, this was an innocent soldier, and he goes, it was an imperial threat. And then it was just an incredible scene where it was beautifully written between the two characters.
Yeah. And he goes on to say, he's like, we're at war, and she says, you killed him because he saw my face. He says, what's the difference?
Yes. Yeah.
No, this is what we're doing here. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, you can't be mad about that, because our first priority is the cause.
Totally. Yeah.
I don't know. It's great. There's less subtext in this one, than the first one, but they're always doing really exciting and interesting things. Did anyone think that when she finally assassinates Dr. Gorst, that it was a dream sequence?
Yes. For a second, I did. Yeah.
Sure. I did. Jenny said the same thing.
Yeah. Carly,
she's like, "Is this real?" And I'm like,
Which is a great way to do it. It's a great setup, right? Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it's so
and
great
then-
to get justice
because-
like once. It's just like nice. It's just
But
like
you
yeah.
get
They crank it up and leave the room, and then we see him through soundproof transparency.
Oh, yeah.
suffering. I mean, they
It-
almost should have just let him live, like just sit like that all night. Like I
Yeah,
was a little
just
disappointed.
fry
they
his
blew it
brain.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Does she dream
masterful.
about the console at the beginning of the episode? Is it sort of a mirror?
Beginning of the first
like,
episode.
yeah.
Beginning of the first episode, and then
Beginning
she
of
also
Endgame.
sees Dr. Gorst at the beginning of this. Yeah, the first episode of this arc. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's masterful storytelling because if you knew it wasn't a dream at the start, it would have felt like weirdly set up and almost like convenient in some ways. But like your mind is going, well, this is just a dream sequence. And then when you realize it's not, you get double triumph, right? Because you're watching happen, and then you get the triumph of, oh no, it's actually really happening. Like, and it is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. And the way to do that, because that's hard to do that and make that feel not writerly in some ways, right? To give her the ultimate revenge on this character feels like convenient, but it doesn't in the way they're doing it in the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe my favorite part of that is when she just in cold blood blows away an Imperial officer on
It's
the
the best
way
part.
out. I was like, let's go.
Oh, you can't be in here. And she just
Just like,
immediately blast her bland.
have a nice dream.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, you're
And-
like waiting for those moments too. You're like, I want to see Rebels pop off and get things done.
Yeah.
And they do. Bix and Cassian
Yeah.
get in there, destroy this building, which was going to be a torture like development center for torture run by
Yeah.
Dr. Gorst.
Yeah. Which I was
Uh-huh.
wondering, I was kind of surprised to see him go, because I was part of me is like, is he the one who like invented a torture droid that tortures Leia?
But wait, so like Lonnie Young gave it to them, right? Like gave that to Luthen, right?
Yes.
So like
Yeah.
so they could do that mission, right?
Yep.
Is
That
he
was the
gonna
threat.
pay for that? Do you think like they're gonna catch on to like that he's giving away these things and things that are given to him, or maybe like things go bad?
I
Well-
don't know about Lonnie. I feel like
I
he's
think there's
clever.
another shoot a drop.
You know, that just reminded me, so they
He's
have these
advising-
impromptu. This is a great Partagas episode too.
Oh my god! Wait! Are we getting the ISB stuff right now? Because this is
Sure.
I think we just
the
opened the
ISB
door.
storyline's incredible.
Incredible.
Because like that will tie back into Luthen, so we'll get back to Cassian and Bix, but like that will tie back to Luthen, and then we can maybe talk about Cassian and Bix again then. But because like the ISB stuff is so cool in this part of
Yeah.
it.
I mean, almost like Cassian and Bix were a little bit marginalized, but we'll get there. I feel like we should do a big Gorman wrap where
Yeah, I think that's the way to
Gorman, yeah.
end.
We-
Yeah,
But
that's
I would like to go Imperial right now. You
Yeah,
just made
let's
me
do it.
think before I forget it was that Lonnie Young, I wonder, so they have the impromptu meeting in the hallway and he tells them, hey, they're taking Gorst, they're plucking Gorst away from us and they're creating a program. I need you two on it and following what's going on. And here, like I can't do the correct pronunciation, but supervisor here, I can't do it the way Partagas does it. It's like it's always
Supervisor Hayet. Hayet.
Yeah.
Hayet. Yeah. Hayet.
and
That's right.
yeah, he's like, how do I even pronounce this word? It's
Yeah.
impossible.
But
But
this is all ingesting
He
and
makes a fool of
speculating.
himself.
Where's the intel? You're like, oh my god, like, go off, Partagas, and he just does it. It's just, that's out of control.
so good. Yeah, I could just watch Partagas chew out a room of ISB members.
I was like, this sounds like
Yeah.
effective
Forever.
counterinsurgency. You're like,
Oh.
keep going. Let's go.
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, in that meeting, Lonnie's just like, guess what? You take the front roll on this and you read the thing, and he's distancing himself completely.
Perhaps we're arresting
from-
too many people.
Right, but he's distancing himself from Gorst,
Yeah.
and maybe he knew that Gorst was going to get blown up. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
right, because he doesn't, because it's also a very ISP move of just like, well, he's no longer ours, so he's expendable, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
He
yeah,
gave it to
Here's
Hayet, right?
a
Yeah.
D-bag. Like no one wants to do
Yeah,
it.
he's a
like,
bootlicker who's just
Yeah.
trying to ride as fast as
Yeah.
possible, and he's
Oh.
the worst kind of them.
Wasn't I right? Or we talked about it, but he was clearly undercutting Dedra in the first season.
Oh
And,
yeah, he
like,
was trying to steal her job immediately. It was
Yeah,
like, I'll just speak for you if you want me to.
The-
If you like, if you don't want to
Yeah.
attend the meeting, I'll be there. It's like,
Yeah,
what's
I'm
going on with this
Team
guy?
Dedra all the way on that. That's
Oh,
Yeah,
it's-
Dedra's like my
Just-
fave.
the
Yeah.
Like
casting.
you need a radical insurgency that you could depend on to do the wrong
Yeah.
thing, and Krennic's like, and I was like, okay, I love this show. This show is
Yeah.
like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
By the
20
way,
out of
Grant, we don't do videos anymore. You are doing her mouth perfectly.
perfectly.
which is amazing because she has such a specific Imperial mouth, which she doesn't do in real life. Like she doesn't do that. That's a choice. But the casting on this, like the person who plays, like, what's his name? The one we were just talking about has such a little rat. Yeah, it has such a little rat face. Like, and I feel bad because I see in normal life, I'm sure he's very nice looking and whatever. But like, they really they make his like eyes, like they do undershadow on his eyes.
They definitely make him like gaunt.
All no one sleeps in the ISB.
No,
ever.
And they all look so evil in different ways. Even like Lonnie looks
sleep deprived. I mean, he's got like kids. So like I get
hectic.
it though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I feel it.
Yeah.
No, it's so good.
Lonnie just goes home, sits on the couch, and just stares at the wall for like 3 hours, and then he goes to bed.
Yeah.
I was googling something, so I might have missed if you said this, but the Partagas's line of just calibrate your enthusiasm is one of my favorite lines of all time.
Calibrate your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I like when he says like this buffet of rebel plunder. You're like, oh my God, let's go. He was telling me. I was like, oh, these lines. Wow.
Dude, all day.
Pop off.
All day long.
Good sir. Continue.
So I mean, do we want to talk Cyril and Dedra?
Wait, can I just talk about like lore stuff real quick? Where Partagaz is like Colonel Yularen and I have like decided to meet with the Emperor to like talk about like arresting too many people and like how we can amplify our processing or something like that. I was like, okay, we're getting lots of people talking about meeting with Palpatine, which is very
it's come up quite a bit. I feel like it's like it feels like it's
another one.
Yeah, Wolf Yularen is sort of like, I just got done with a conversation with the Emperor.
But
you can't even look at the Emperor, but I
right.
Yeah.
You don't even
Krennic does too, though, I think. Krennic is like, the Emperor, you will become like, made aware to the Emperor. Yeah.
I could also listen to Ben Mendelsohn talk forever. That was a weird like undercut like storyline. It's just
synthetic calcite.
He and Mon Mothma jousting in the background on everything, and Mon Mothma doesn't back down at all.
I love that. Just to watch those two.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and just it's so good. And just the line, what was it? Oh, we should have killed him. Like, what was it? Oh, we should have killed. Like, or we could have killed him. Like,
that's where I got my theory. Honestly, when that happened, I was like, that's where my theory popped off. I was like, oh, well, he is meant to do that with somebody, and he's been building for this forever, and he eventually is going to get into high. He was at the Imperial Ball. Yeah, he's going to get to that next level of basically meeting Palpatine. Like, it's going to happen.
And what a way, because Palps likes to collect a lot of antique things.
All makes perfect sense. Yep. And it's like what you would do if you were like
even sense him somehow in the Force.
Yeah, it could be the coolest scene ever. Honestly, it could be like just the one semi-mystical thing that happens. That feels kind of like weird.
Yeah, it would be a nice sort of. They need to end in a grand way. This show. And there has to be something that's really special that happens there. And I think, the Emperor killing Luthen would be a huge thing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. What arc do you guys want to do next? We could talk about Dedra and.
No, I just want to talk about like Lonnie and Luthen real quick because we get another meeting in the elevator. And so Lonnie does go down after that meeting and he does meet with Luthen. And it's the same kind of rickety, turbo lift that just like crashes down and the door opens and Luthen's out there with the cape and he's like, I haven't heard from you. It's been like 5 rotations. five cycles.
Complaining because he's like, I can't keep doing this. And like, Luthen's like, nope, we're doing this all the time now.
Yeah.
And then he talks about Dedra, and that's how that's kind of why I love this show, because I do feel like the good guys are ahead a little bit. Like I feel like Luthen now knows about Dedra and Gorman, and that's all I need to know as a viewer, rooting for the good guys. Like I just want Luthen to kind of be the head of everything and the head of the ISB, and it's very exciting that Luthen has that intel, and we kind of like. It's so I don't know. It's very interesting. He's like, "What's the end game?" He doesn't know what the end game is, and the end game is to get this calcite to, basically,
build a
use for the lenses, basically polish the lenses with it. Yeah,
I was talking about. I think it was last week or the week before, and just how much the Death Star is underneath everything that's occurring in all of these,
and they don't know about it yet.
Exactly, that's the fascinating thing.
Luthen does not know about the Death Star. That's kind of what the most interesting thing is to me, which is like Empire has been able to keep the Death Star pretty hidden to the point where Luthen doesn't even know about it.
Yeah.
And Krennic is like also trying to keep Tarkin and Yularen out of the Death Star program as well. The Special Weapons Division, which is one of the most interesting sort of like storylines in Star Wars, is that this weird Special Weapons Division. And you got Galen Erso there too, right? Like,
he's currently working on it.
Yeah, this is weird because now I feel like, well, we're keeping the same group of people week after week, and it's like I'm like, there's so much, and there's all these other characters that you were just talking about that are involved in this that all come together in Rogue One, and it's like, are we ever gonna get to that, or was this sort of like really a 6-episode arc, and then like we're gonna get another 6-episode arc as they sort of now we're activated as full-time rebels? Like,
maybe, right? The world could build out because of that. Because if you're right, if this takes place after that, kind of we pulled all our threads together, this might be. I mean, we did start. I mean, we can talk about a little later, but we did see Bail Organa for the first time, so we are starting to interact with other elements of the rebellion, right? So yeah, it could be. Yeah,
I just can't envision the show not showing Mon Mothma divorcing herself from her entire life and going full-time rebel. Like, I can't imagine a world where we just see
it would be
Mon Mothma.
Yavin has to be established. That is like clear at this point. By the end of this whole series, Yavin is going to be fully established.
They set it up,
and they already mirrored it. So like, you're already going to get the mirror setup that like, it's what we saw before, but now it's fully functioning. And like that's the arc.
Yeah. I just wonder though, because they might just drop us in, because like Rebels covers all of that, like getting Yavin and also and also Mon Mothma leaving. So I'm wondering if they just skip it, but it's like, it's so, I don't know, it's so huge. I mean, can we talk about Mon Mothma and Perrin for? Sorry, Adam. You
No, I just real quick. I was like, maybe the whole thought is that we aren't going to see Mon Mothma leave, and she's going to already be part of it, and she might be somewhat absent, and then suddenly Luthen's like, there's a bigger world. Like, maybe that's the discovery of the rebels is what's going to be the big thing for Andor. It's just like, he doesn't realize how big the rebellion actually is. He thinks there's just these couple of cells, sabotaging things, when in reality there's an active rebellion forming.
Yeah, that's the second thing too, is like, if Luthen doesn't know about the rest of the rebel cells, then like we need to see that too, don't we? I mean, that's huge.
It's odd. The closer we get, I'm with you, Ben. I'm a little like, what's going on with the larger galaxy?
I think it might end with the crackdown, almost like the Imperial crackdown is almost kind of where I think is going to happen, where it's like,
which is the second,
like a Saw Gerrera, a giant Rhydonium bomb goes off or something in the Empire. It's just like, oh, we have an excuse now to like basically open warfare with many different sort of rebel fronts. I
think it's the second Gorman massacre. I think we're going to see another Gorman massacre. For one, they make reference to it in Rebels. That's like, we see her, Mon Mothma's announcement to the galaxy is that like, after this atrocity at Gorman, like, she calls out the Emperor as a self-appointed tyrant, authoritarian, and joins and then immediately forms the Republic. I mean, that would be an exciting 3 days to do, and I hope they do that. But and then also find Yavin, I guess.
It's inevitable that like it's a planetary bombardment or something. It's something massive, because like I almost feel like Cyril might be in that fodder to die on that planet. There's almost this doom I feel like that's happening with him, where it's like, he loves this spycraft and working for the ISB and getting any inkling he can get from like Partagaz and any of the high-ranking officers, and sort of like be a part of things. But like, I think he might pay the ultimate price, just given like his proximity to what's happening as well.
So, asking for Jenny, do you guys think that Cyril will regret it before it's all done?
I think Cyril's actually a good Imperial, and that he might actually have his morals in the right place and just wants a system of order and manners and process and stuff like that. And but he's it just feels like he is maybe like a low IQ, sort of like high ego, a character that is sort of like really transfixed on his outer image, and to the point where he's almost blind. And it's just, I just worry about his character. Like, I have an intense sense of worry about his character, where Dedra, I know, is like fine and gonna like remove herself from destruction if destruction's about to happen somewhere. Where Cyril feels like embedded.
He seems like a true believer, even though he doesn't know what he believes in. Like,
Yeah.
Is it sad if this is the
Or
greatest
pawn,
day of
like lackey, pawn? Is that like those words are coming to mind? For him?
Yeah, same.
Lackey. It's not even spy, but not even like he's turned
It's a
into an
wannabe.
imperial spy. It's almost like a wannabe spy. Exactly. It's actually the most interesting character ever.
Yes, he's also
he
the one I have
is
a hard
so
time
compelling.
predicting.
He
Yeah,
is
he is.
so much fun.
I mean, that was such a great scene. When, like
he's trimming his
when
eyebrows and
Party
like
did
everything.
a great job.
Him being the head of the Bureau of Standards on Gorman and like his office space and all the people that are there, people recording him. Gorman front people just recording everyone in every job. They even put people in the work crew at the Imperial Armory too. Like the Gorman, their intelligence is great, like in terms of intercepting and getting in there. That's why it's very dangerous. That's why the Empire probably has to react in like a very intense way, because I feel like the Gorman were very good at sort of intercepting data and intel. Pushing back.
In terms of Cyril regretting it, I see it kind of like I think we might get a last second regret as he sees the end coming. But no, I don't know. I think his is a tale of tragedy. It kind of has to be, and I think the tragedy is him realizing when it's far too late that he made a big mistake. But I don't know. He can't be successful. He's not smart.
Well, now they've set up this whole. Is it Rydan, the leader of the Gormans? I forget his name. Rystan. I forget his name. He talks with Cyril, and it kind of alludes to maybe the theme and the story for Cyril is that he actually does relate and empathize with the Gormans, and he doesn't see that they've done anything wrong. They're simply just rightfully worried about a military base being built. Well, in their city, which is and it against the imperial charter. It actually goes against the law that's happening, right? It wasn't approved by anyone.
Which the way Partagaz talks about it with Deirdre makes sense, right? Because he's he cannot know what we're actually doing here, right? He says that to Deirdre, Cyril cannot know what this is actually about. Because what this is actually about is leading to the second massacre of Gorman, leading to the crackdown.
And I think that will have. I think that will have happened by the time the next one we see. But Grant, can you see? Are you basing what you just said off of his transmissions to his mom, his calls with his mom, or did I misunderstand you? I'm sorry.
No, I'm talking about when he talks to the Gorman front and he's embedded with them. And when he's talking to them, he, I think, empathizes with them in that moment. That's it. That's all I'm speaking to. I just feel like he empathizes with them. Other than that, I worry about his morals. He's so buried in the Empire. I get that you could totally fight back against that and be he's an awful person, whatever. I get that. I'm just saying that's basic. That's a puppet.
Yeah, he's
he is a.
He's I'm doing my job I'm being an ISB agent right now. I'm good at
I think you're left in the dark as to where his morals lie by the end of these episodes. Okay. I still think you don't really know what he.
Yeah, I can totally see. I can totally see that. And I think what's interesting is during the theft, which we'll talk about more detail later, but since we're talking about Cyril, when shots are fired, he seems actively worried about those, and I'm kind of one shot fired,
a shot fired.
Yeah, but he seems really nervous, and a part of me is why would he be so nervous? Because they would still get away. It's a shot. A part of me is is he nervous because he's worried that one of the people that he's been talking to is dead? Right? Was that little bit of sympathy coming out? I don't know.
I think he was nervous because he's a poser, and he's not a field agent. And the last time he was in the field, he got smoked.
I think
it's very true.
And he's just he's so into it, but he's like a LARPer. He's a proud boy.
That's a great interpretation of who he is. He's a LARPer. He's a LARPing Imperial. It's the greatest character ever. And
I think Partagaz and Dedra sort of roll their eyes at it, but they're he's their guy, and she put a lot of faith in him to do that job. I mean, that's a huge job. They had a full war room in the ISB going for that operation, and
that was so cool when Partagaz and Dedra entered that room and were just filter out all intelligence officers. Everyone left, and then they had the room to themselves, and basically they conducted this Gorman operation and watched the rebels, and it was all going to Dedra's plan, Krennic overheard at the meeting, and everything is her plan, and so you guys are at one moment before we even start the episode, or now, I think early in the episode, you guys are saying Dedra is like your favorite character. Adam, I think you said that. Like, you're rooting for Dedra.
So you don't want to, but you do. Yeah,
she's the most evil character. I'm just saying, like, are you not allowed to root for like the evil characters in a fictional space thing?
Yes, you are able to, because if they make the character compelling. Like,
it's very
also, they know she's going to lose because she has to, because she's part of the Empire. So eventually she's going to lose. Yeah. So it's easier to root for her.
But I think her morals are interesting, though. I think she is also one to be left observing and thinking about, because I think she's going to eventually be like, this is getting too dark. Like, we're going to massacre people again, like Tarkin. Tarkin probably did the massacre. Like, first of all, the Rima trade route, which Gorman is on, is connected to Iriadu. And Tarkin is probably patrolling up and down that thing. And so when you're doing like a Middle Earth history, it's like, well, Tarkin's a tyrant, as all Star Wars audience knows. And so you have to have him do like tyrannical things in the timeline, like at times, like, you know what I mean? And they're in the proximity of his world, or like, I guess, through the trade route. And you would just organic that he would go there. But for it to happen again, I don't think Dedra would want that to happen, like on her watch. She'd be like, what? Like another like massacre? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But like maybe after a Luthen assassination attempt on the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, let's go crackdown mode, and like just goes against these sort of like rebel fronts in major ways or something. Or Saw blows up the armory with a Rhydonium bomb.
Yeah.
Like,
that would just feed their, Cyril and Dedra's like manifesto enough. You guys are way kinder than I thought you'd be to both of those people. I see them as completely indoctrinated. I mean, no one's more indoctrinated than Dedra. She was an orphan.
Dedra's completely.
Dedra went to the.
I'm with you, Ben, on that. Dedra is not a. There's no
black and white.
Yeah,
it's just like, even when she's explaining to Krennic,
she doesn't want the Gorman operation though in the beginning. Like, she's like, I do not like. Take me out of it. I don't want to be in this.
Because she's afraid of what that's going to do to her career.
Yeah, probably more career-wise.
I think more than like morals or ethics.
And I think she knows how ugly it's about to get.
Yeah,
singular.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying morally, she has some moral fiber to be like.
That's true. That does speak to her more.
I'm saying it's complex. It's very interesting. Like, that's why you watch the show, because their morals waver constantly. It's so fascinating.
To go back to Cyril for a second, like when the opening of the first episode happened and he is clearly starting to show sympathy, there's a moment where I was just like, oh, interesting. Is he starting to, the scale starting to drop from his eyes? And I'm like, oh no, he's just a patsy. But like,
he does share. Okay.
But
I'll give you that. He shares empathy, and then he becomes ecstatic LARPer. And like, I agree. He becomes ecstatic LARPer, and we're left with ecstatic LARPer, and we're like, oh, this is not good. Like, I guess it's not good because he's this radical, or he's this
But what I'm saying, Grant, is that like they've clearly set up his character enough that it gave me at least a moment's pause to think this could be plausible for this character, right? Like, he's looking for acceptance. He's looking, because that's the thing. Like, that's all he's ever looking for is acceptance, and you think he's going to find acceptance. So there's part of me is like, well, maybe he's been working here and he's now finding acceptance amongst these people, right? So it was enough for like maybe a minute for me to be like, oh, maybe he is actually starting to soften. And I'm like, oh no. But my point is that like, it didn't feel so out of possibility for his character. So I think you're right there, Grant. Like, there's definitely a possibility of him.
I think he's doomed. I think it's very.
Oh yeah, he's gonna die.
Like Darth Maul. Yeah. It's like he's basically trying to go up the mountain. His mother is just like throwing rocks at him, and it's just like it's just like the worst journey ever. And it's just
but he's. I mean, it's some of my favorite stuff. It's
same good. It's so good.
Yeah, that's like all that Imperial side is kind of the best part of this.
I like when they like his office gets raided. And then he goes in there and he's like, you're my own people, like spy on me. It was I loved it. I thought it was like a meme.
That was probably organized by Dedra. Was like, you need to toss the place, capture him, and that all that stuff was like, he's a great actor, and it was all an act.
It was incredible.
Ingratiate him with
it was like.
Yeah, it was. He's like, now they're watching me. He blames the Empire for bugging him and all that. And it's
it's an interesting question about how much is he in on, right? Like, how much is he? But I think you're right, man. I think he's just such a patsy that they're just like pushing him in a certain direction, right? And like,
goes to Dedra's apartment.
He understands the assignment. It's like ingratiate yourself with the opposition, and he's like, okay. Let's
Yeah,
go.
that's the most important thing to him. So you're right. Does feel like it's all an act. And even the ISB feel like
He wants to be a good little boy.
And then he's like, oh no, this actually plays into like my spy persona. I'm just a dejected like Bureau of Standards guy. I don't matter, but I'm also like part of this Gorman operation, which is part of the Death Star operation, which is intermixed with Cassian Andor, and Cyril Karn have now crossed once more in the timeline.
How did they not meet each other? How did they not meet each other?
So that will be when we get to that point.
That they have an
that is
man.
My only
Cassian Andor. They say this to Cassian Andor. Their inside man in the Empire is Cyril Karn, and Cassian Andor is not made aware of this person and what they look like and any of that intel. He's like, Luthen will talk to you. He's like, the guy who has many friends. He will talk to you. He will call. And like,
that's my only critique of the episode of this arc. I could watch that working. It was a mile ahead when she's like, "Oh, I'm going to visit on Coruscant," and then Cassian's like, "I'm going to Gorman." I'm like, "Oh, so this is how they're going to explain how they don't actually meet? Is they both accidentally have to leave at the same time?" I'm like, nah, that's a little writerly to me. That was like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
That was the greatest day of Cyril Karn's life, though. He got to meet Major Partagas.
I'm very happy for him.
And Major Partagas said, "Good work, Cyril Karn."
Yes.
And he was just like, "Is this the best day of my life?"
Cyril Karn is the easiest character to psychoanalyze. I mean, like just wanting love from his mom, not getting it ever in acceptance, seeking out another abusive place, which is the Empire, and actually looking for acceptance there, getting it, being a good little boy, and also starting to get with a person. Like I mentioned this last week. I don't have to get. I will not get super blue here, but like the scene when they're like, "I only have an hour, turn off the lights." What?
About this.
I literally was waiting to hear like a snap of leather after that lights went down. Like that is a sub-dom relationship.
Do we have to?
Yeah, do what you have to do. Like Adam, did we talk about that on air or off air last week?
Yeah.
Was it on air?
On air. It's a sub-dom relationship. It is.
Because I was like, this absolutely validates that conversation.
Yes. He's just like, punish me. I deserve it. I'm a bad boy. Like that's what they said. That's when after they cut away, that was the line.
Trims his eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Well, where do we go from there? All right. As my hero would say.
Next.
How about a quick one about Mon and Perrin?
Oh yeah.
I want to take a victory lap on that because I think I was right about Perrin being an ally, even if he appears to be not. Like he is fully in this episode or this arc, like and doing his political ally maneuvering with Mon.
Yeah, they're closer. They're closer now. They seem like as a couple as well, right?
They're always kind of like this, and we never.
They're a D&D party, they roll the dice together.
Can I say something? And I'm not saying this because I have a kid. The only thing different in their relationship right now is their kid is no longer at home, and they seem to be functioning better. You notice because if you watch the first season, it's the kid playing the mom against the dad, and the dad using it all the time. And then the second the kid's out of the picture, it removes that thing. I really think that's part of what's going on here. And I'm like, I wonder who wrote that. Like, someone clearly has had like a teenager in their home.
Bo Williman.
Bo William must have had a teenager in the home. But yeah, no, I agree. It was nice to actually see them kind of functioning as a unit. Like that scene where like, why is it like when she's just like, why is it so hard, Perrin? Like just scheduling the parties. And it felt like it didn't feel like a dig, like all their other conversations. It felt like a legitimate married moment of like just taking interest in each other's lives, in an interesting way.
Well, it was an interesting thing because what he was doing was showing us that there's a huge turnover in the Senate, and because they're purging all the like people that don't agree with the Emperor, and every new person is having this grand entrance plan, and and so I think that's really what he was speaking to. He's just like but he's totally aligned with Mon. I mean, they're a great little team together. I love
that. They set that up early, though. I mean, Tony Gilroy shows him sort of seeing Mon at the wedding and sort of like possibly reigniting a love or something. Something's happening early in the season, and then like it feels like that's sort of where it's going. Is that like Perrin is now like like Mon's incredible, and like I'm show up to this Imperial ball, and we're gonna have a great time together, and I'm with her. And you're kind of feeling that. So now it's going to feel maybe more tragic when Mon totally breaks away.
They could be like even during the sparring between Krennic and Mon, Perrin's right there. Like, I mean, he chuckles a couple times when he's not supposed to, but he didn't like shrink away from his wife's side. You know what I mean? Like,
no, in fact, when she's like knives out with Krennic, he steps in to defuse it. Like a couple people.
Krennic felt like he had a few. It felt like this was Krennic after a few. That's almost the direction.
He definitely enjoyed some cocktails. Yeah. He was a bit loose.
That was Krennic after a few, which I was like, oh, he has a good time too, where he's not just like a stickler at a meeting, you know?
Oh man, yeah,
it was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, come on.
I mean, fascist,
let him cook.
Fascist and evil, but like it just Mendelssohn.
It's great lines. Like they wrote him great. He delivers it amazingly. Yeah. It's just like what you want. It's the same way you love Darth Vader, right? Like everyone loves Darth Vader, even though he's evil. It's because of what he says, how he says it, and all of like. Yes, it's okay to liking a character or enjoying a character is not co-signing this behavior in real life, right? That's different. Of course we all know this is bad. We're not wanting this to happen, but boy, is it fun to watch.
There are Purgles in the galaxy, all right? There are Purgles.
There are Purgles out there. There's space whales, and you're having this stupid conversation.
The scene of just having to take during that whole scene of just cutting back and forth between having to take out the listening device was so tense. I mean, this whole arc was just all spycraft, and it was so tense, and I loved it. It was so good. Just watching her hands start to bleed. Yeah,
I love Claire.
Move to your left, like just
move to your left. That was
I almost started yelling at Lonnie.
Yeah,
through my television. Lonnie, come on, dude.
Get with the program, Lonnie.
When the bleeding started, I was a little worried. I was like, oh.
Yeah. And they didn't even give us the satisfaction until she actually hands it to Luthen after the thing.
They just don't know. Yeah.
I love that.
You should have killed Krennic.
Yeah, and they just laugh. I just love it. Yeah.
He says, he's like, my face is sore from smiling.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my God.
He loves that. He loves living on the edge. God, Luthen is so cool.
Do you? And just
I love when talking to those ISB guys, and they're like, "Oh, we're going here," and he's like, "Oh, tell me more."
Yes, I, as a person, as an introvert who worked at a store long enough to be able to fake being an extrovert.
Yeah,
I so relate because I know that feeling of I will be the person that's smiling, and the second I turn around, I'm just my face just drops where I'm just I've literally had that my face hurts from smiling, and I consider I'm a happy person, but I'm having to fake social graces sometimes is just come on. So I'm at a party that's not when I'm at a work party, for instance.
That's funny. That's a different read than I got. I got it authentically from smiling because he was so happy with the way the night went.
No, I got it from I've had to pretend to be this art dealer because that's not who he is for too long, and I can't. It just sucks.
I can't fake a smile.
But I think the thing is great is that it is written that it could be either way, right? Either of those interpretations seems valid to me. Should we talk about the Bail Organa in the room?
Yeah. Why don't we touch on that?
So this was Ben. This was what I was referring to last week when I said there was a recasting. This is what I heard about this before this happened.
I read about this a year ago.
Really? I didn't even.
They announced it a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Nice. You're right. Ben.
I didn't remember that. Yeah.
They did. Reddit was gotcha.
Yeah. And so behind scenes, it seems legit.
The thing was, even knowing that, I still thought it was Jimmy Smith. I was
he does a great Jimmy Smith's impression. He does the Baylor impression.
Missed each other.
I was immediately where is Jimmy Smith's? Is he safe?
I thought I was going to be thrown. I was kind of against it, and then you're right, Ben. The second he delivered his first line, there he is. That is Bale. Just nailed it. Yeah. Just exactly the same. It didn't feel like an impression. Feel like he just enveloped the character. It also seems like it's legit. They didn't purposely recast Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith just had conflict, and they couldn't work it out with him, scheduling conflict, and you need Bale. What are you going to do? I'd rather do that than a deep fake, a bad CGI Bale. Yeah.
It's fine. And they, and I mean, I think they did.
He just says hi and walks away. It's not a big deal. But we were texting, and it's this is how you sort of introduce Benjamin Bratt as Bail Organa.
Gets everyone comfortable.
You're only doing this because he has more to do. Because in the next arc, Bail Organa looks like Bail Organa is going to have a role or something.
Yeah.
I think so. I think
why would you introduce a name actor?
Yes, exactly. You're not going to have. You don't get Benjamin Bratt for a 30-second walk-on role. No, he's going to be in there for sure. Yeah,
I'd love to get Luthen next arc, gathering all his people, and then you have the standoff with Saw's "F you, I'm not joining your little band of merry men." like you're too weak, but like he gathers everyone else. I don't know. That would be kind of cool to see all that.
Yeah. Did we talk about, speaking of Saw, did we talk about that, the fact they're on the Resistance planet? They're in Dakar.
Oh, Dakar.
Yeah.
Is that like a shadow port at this point? What is that?
I don't know, but it's just interesting. Nice little connection that clearly they have like a rebel base set up there, and
it was a sequel connection in Andor, which was awesome.
Yeah. And
I love Dakar.
Yeah, I thought that was really surprising.
Rolling green field. Very cool.
Yeah, it gave me a little like ooh when that popped up.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're doing these polls for planets and locations and things, and I always get excited when I see a new one.
I think I was on Dakar when I went on the Rise of Resistance.
Oh yeah, I think you were. Yeah, nice.
I think for portion.
Yeah, it's
the ride.
Yeah, that's why we lost Grant last week. Grant, great to have you back. But you were actually on
part two.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Very cool. I saw Mando. The Grogu in his pouch was like pretty cool looking.
Yep, and the animatronic Mando or animatronic Grogu moving a little bit, like in the pouch.
It looked a little better than the doll I have, and other things I've seen.
Did they have any droids walking around, or are they still kind of rolling it out? No, none of the BDX.
Great to have a droid. No, I didn't see any droids yet.
The BDX droids are coming later this year to all of them. So the next time we go, they'll be there.
Wow.
Plus the
Rise. You were right though, Adam. Epcot is just S tier.
It is the hidden secret to all adults. If you're an adult and you think Disney World stinks, that's fine. Just spend the night, just spend an afternoon night in Epcot and go and spend all of it in the around the world section, and you'll be fine. You'll have a great time.
Two margaritas and you actually think like I'm in France.
Yeah,
I'm in like Mexico.
It's working.
And the food is good. The food's good at a lot of places. And I admit, when I went, it was bad. Food used to be bad. They definitely upped their game a little bit at Epcot.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, no, there's that is.
I think about the sake bar there on a weekly basis.
I did go to Oga's and we got a bunch of drinks. I think I tried like
Oga's
3 or 4.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Cocktails.
A lot of dry ice content for my like safety concerns, but
I couldn't see it. It was pretty low lighting, so I just didn't question when I was drinking. And
I was like, "This is definitely dry ice," and I'm definitely drinking
it in there.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, they're risky.
The rides were good too. I like the Kylo like grabbing you with the Force on that ride. That was the best.
I love the Rise of Resistance.
That is an awesome moment in that ride.
Yeah. My favorite thing about it is that the line is part of the ride. And you don't even realize like you're in a line because you're just all that is like when you're in the opening thing in the shuttle, that's just part of the line. When you're walking past the store,
the line is like a rebel
just
base.
The line
running through a rebel base. I was like, oh, this is great. If every ride can be like an immersive base,
waiting to get broken out by the Resistance, that's just the line. Like you don't realize how long you're in the line in that ride. So smart.
Wait, that's a part of the line.
That ride for
it's all a line. Everything's a line until you get into the actual cart. All of it is a line. Like all of it is the queue.
Yeah, but it's an awesome line
because it's just keeping you in spaces for a while so other people can move through. So it's brilliant. Like this is why I nerd out about theme parks because it's all just like
Adam
the management of it.
At Epic Universe was
tell me about it.
Line.
I'm
like
so
animatronics, the robots.
I'm so jealous.
Robot Dr. Frankenstein.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Like that is 12-year-old Adam's dream come true that there's now a theme park of just Universal monsters. I'm like, what? Like, where was this when I was 12? I literally remember staying home sick on Halloween to watch the Universal Monster Marathon.
They have like steam going on like through in this goblet at the center of that park where it's like throughout like nonstop. I was like, oh, that's Park's doing a lot to just pump steam out of that thing forever.
Yeah, I mean they are taking their shot at Disney right now.
It's cool. Going through the portals at that spot is very cool. But I don't want to these corporations do enough marketing.
No, I don't need to keep you're not. It's not. This is not sponsored content. It's okay to enjoy.
If you want to do ads on this podcast, you're free to do that. But we can't. No free ads.
No free ads. But yeah, I'm glad to hear it. We can talk off air when we're not recording.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to my other one like overarching philosophy thing I wanted to talk about with Andor. And we can. There's a lot of other sections that I'm sure would be fun to talk about. But
sure,
it's this. Both the rebellion, like via Luthen, and the Imperials want to escalate the crisis. They want to escalate the thing. Like the Imperials need the rebels to validate them another massacre and essentially just taking over this, like just destroying
a radical counterinsurgency you could depend on to do the
you
work.
can depend on.
It
they need
shows they both want the same thing. They both want the Gormans massacred.
Yeah,
and
Luthen's
awful.
like, yeah, we need like a major city to fall. That will be the impetus for us to like
it'll burn bright. Is that the line?
Burn bright. Yep.
Yeah.
That's from the last
article. Burn bright. Yeah.
Great. I mean, it's amazing writing, and it's pure Tony Gilroy, right? This idea that like your heroes and the villains want the same thing for different reasons, but like it still ends in the same thing, that all these people that you're helping are going to die horribly.
Yeah, I almost want to end on that Cassian Luthen conversation, because that was, I think, the heart of what these episodes were in a lot of ways. Where it was like, he's like, Gorman will be destroyed. Like, what if it gets destroyed? And he's like, oh, burn bright.
Yeah.
And it was like, he wants this to be a point. He gets this sort of like affluent, well-connected world to the political center of the galaxy, and for it to stand up against the Empire is basically a huge sort of like resistance, sort of message of resistance to the galaxy.
And it's not, he's not wrong. That's the horrible thing about this whole thing.
He's not wrong.
He's not. It's the way that goes. That
because they're right.
The poor and
they're very transparent and they're good people.
Yeah. When the poor and underprivileged suffer, no one pays attention. But the second someone rich or privileged, or a group of rich or privileged people are suffering, everyone's paying attention.
Yeah. That was just such a wild part of that, because they still
also
did
destroying art, like that is very reminiscent of history. You know what I mean? And,
and the fact that it's tied to a whole ecosystem, and they're they know their mining operation is going to destroy all life on this planet, and it's
it was like, I think that was even mentioned by Krennic, which is like the whole the planet may be rendered unstable because we have to do core mining or something. It was like deep mining. I forget what he called it. It was incredible. It was like sometimes they just have to core a planet. They have to just bury in the core to get some of these.
We have to mine it until it implodes.
They have to do.
Yeah, it's odd. It's not like we're doing anything similar to that, where we're
I guess
and creating instability and water catching on fire. That's not happening. No, we don't.
Here's the bad news: we have to spin that we're also committing genocide.
Deep substrate foliated calcite. Best Imperial line ever. Period.
It's so good. Oh man. I'm so glad we got. I didn't even expect to see Krennic because I was just like, oh, he's not gonna be this arc. And then he turns around. I was just like, yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a big moment. You're just sort of like, oh, this is gonna be really tense, blah blah blah. And then like Krennic just like turned.
And he's an incredible. He's a total X factor in the Empire too. It's like, I don't know why I love his character. Like, wears a cape. He's director.
Total title, new title, new outfit. Yeah.
Like talk to the emperor. There's a lot about Krennic that's just super interesting to me. I don't know,
because he's kind of a wannabe too. Like he's not a Moff. He's like he wants to be an admiral. He gets to sit at the table with like Moffs and admirals and ISB like generals and stuff. But he's just like, he's an engineer. Like he's not he's not military at all. But like he wears all the pomp and like of like a admiral.
He signs the program documents and like pushes forward the new.
He's an administrator.
Stuff.
He's an administrator in many ways.
But like a lot, it seems like he's mad that a lot of their like elements can't be sourced. Essentially, he's like, we need this, we need that, we need to build this, like, all these like things we need to do for the Death Star. This unique weapon no one's ever built before. And it feels like his hands are full with trying to acquire all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Palpatine's found someone evil enough to do this. Yeah. And that's a Krennic, I think, represents.
He's probably responsible for the for like using prisons to like for manual labor. Like that's probably Director Krennic.
Krennic is evil. That's why like Krennic is really like a bad guy. You know that immediately, which is so interesting. And like, I don't know. He's a truly bad guy. We're talking about the morals of all these characters. I would almost argue that Krennic is maybe the worst character. Like he is just he will do whatever he needs to do to sort of get these objects and climb ranks.
He captured and punished one of his best friends to indentured servitude, Galen Erso, for like this like work project, and like separated him from his family and like orphaned his child.
Terrorized the family. That's already one thing he's done. And ordered death.
BFFs like growing up.
And not that this is any better, but not because he believes in the cause. Like not that it's better, but he's not a believer. He just wants recognition. He just wants to climb, like you said, climb the ladder, climb the ranks, right? Like he just
when they blow up,
when they
blow up Jedha, he's like, it's beautiful. He's like, beautiful. Like he sees the blossoming wave of destruction. It's like, okay, this guy's a bad guy. Like you can trust that this is a villain essentially. And it's very fun to watch.
When Tarkin takes from him, he's like, on this, like the day of my triumph, you're going to take this from me.
Yeah.
Like, nothing about the genocide he just committed to the world. He just destroyed.
Nope. Yep.
He's
not at all. Man.
Yeah, love him. Love that guy.
I know.
But that Luthen Cassian dialogue was just so good. And it just told you that Luthen will sacrifice Gorman. He will try to get in touch with Gorman. The next arc must have to do with Gorman and possible the bomb and all that sort of stuff. Like, it must be more stuff coming from this arc that's going to be connected to the next arc.
I wonder, man. I think we might be like post Gorman massacre too. I think the world is vaporized, and that's, or they've already done the ethnic cleansing that they're going to do, and it's just given, and and that's it. I don't know. Maybe we get it, and then immediately Mon springs.
What if it's full occupation of Gorman and it's pushed that far?
That's what I mean. And full occupation,
and it's like a mining. It's already being mined. Like the deep core mining has begun.
I think and I think a lot of people will be killed and enslaved and imprisoned on Gorman, and it'll be a grotesque atrocity. Another massacre, something like that.
There's part of me I wouldn't be surprised if we don't ever see Gorman again. Like if we just get through news, we'd get through news. Like this is now the 6-month anniversary of the destruction of Gorman, right? Like
because that's a underrated Lonnie line. Is when Hirt is getting lit at that party.
Yeah,
he's like, enjoy it. You'll never be back here again. Because here's not going to exist. It's going to be leveled. Is the way that I read that the second time that I watched it.
Was he going there?
What's going to be leveled though?
Because he was getting drunk at that party, like he was there, and he's like, "Oh, this is awesome." And Lonnie goes, "Oh yeah, enjoy it while you can." He's like, "You'll never be back here again." And it's like, okay, because I think he knows he can see 10 steps ahead, and also knows what Luthen's doing, and it's just he's escalating this thing. And
I see what you're saying. The revolution's coming, man.
Revolution. Yeah, this place is going to be taken over by Imperials any minute.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Yeah,
because he's really talking about Dedra, and they don't know about that clandestine meeting on the Malthine Divide. So, but I think he kind of has gleaned it from the movements of Dedra. And it's interesting when he's talking to Luthen about all the stuff that he knows. It's he understands exactly what's going on and all the dynamics.
Yeah.
Between Hirt and between Dedra, and he's just and he's actually really tuned in.
I mean, he's also part of the ISB, so he's not a dum-dum. You know what I mean? He got there legitimately, which means he is good at analyzing, right, and seeing things. Yeah.
Great. Did he maybe start the rebel intelligence group, or?
Well, I was wondering because he kind of looks like Blue Leader a little bit from Rogue One.
He does look like Blue Leader. I was I can easily see him with Draven. Where is Draven? Is Draven going to be in this show eventually?
Which one's Draven?
General Draven?
Maybe. Yeah.
Rogue One?
The General Rogue One. He gives him, Oh,
wait, don't kill Galen or something?
Oh, the guy that's...
No, kill.
Yeah. No, he was kill. Then he was wait, what's happening? And then he was wait, still kill. Or so it was it was a lot of cut back to Draven.
I get if it's going to directly abut Rogue One, that's why I'm oh man, you guys have so much ground to cover right now. Just 6 more episodes.
Yeah.
And so to cover 2 years. Radis, is he going to be there?
You don't need Radis. You don't need Radis. He's kind of feels like
I need Radis.
I know.
I need Radis.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Yeah. Some of us need Radis in our veins.
I need the albino twins. I need Radis. I need them.
Yeah. Two Tubes laughing made me think of Adam. I was Adam loves Two Tubes laughed.
Yeah. Two Tubes has a friend too. Like that Two Tubes has a twin or something. That's wild. I was like, wait, there's two tubes?
Yeah, there's 2 tubes. There's 4 tubes.
His laugh was so funny.
But yet when he says tubes, they know who he's talking about.
They just call them tubes. Yeah.
Tubes. Yep.
I love Bentley 2 Tubes.
Yeah. He's good. Well, I like seeing 2 of them. Like both of them with like, sniper rifles.
Crew look like they'll kill you for nothing. Like it did a cutaway at one point. It just showed all of them. Like here's the crew. It was like a Wes Anderson shot. And it was just like, oh, these guys are murderers.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have the species name, but the giant white furry.
Yeah.
Was
oh, he was. Oh, I should know this name. Gorgathon or something. He was also in that book, the Mace Windu book. There was one of them in
He's
there.
very cool.
Oh, right. But like just Will's face during that entire scene is just like, he's like, I'm gonna die here. Like just the entire time he's just sitting there like going, I'm dead. Like I'm just dead. Like it's just watching. He's such the way that actor emotes is amazing. Because I just felt every time they cut to him, I'm like, oh, the just dread and just accepting fate of just like, well, this is it. This is the end of my line. He's like, yeah, maybe I'll have some gas and buy into this thing because I don't know what else to do.
For his life to be taken away twice like that, it feels
that he is like
as traumatizing as anything else, and it's just like he's fought through all that, and
his story is the most tragic of all the stories.
Tough. It's incredible.
He loses his dad, and then he
becomes a bomb maker.
Becomes a bomb maker,
totally radicalized.
Starts to become happy again. Gets kind of pulled away. Starts to get happy again. Has to leave after a friend of his is killed. Now he's fully in. Now he's been kidnapped by this other rebel cell. Now he's like being forced to breathe gas and become basically like insane. Like this is the most tragic story in all of Star Wars.
I know. It'd be less tragic if he died.
Willman and Saw is sort of the untold story. It's very interesting. Yeah. It's a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Guerrera. Oh my god. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna rewatch all these episodes tonight and just focus.
I know. I might put it back on. I want to go for a backstroke.
The backstroke.
Oh my god. Anything else we missed other than pod races?
Yeah, right. The pod races they cut to, right? I was like, that was great. I was like trying to figure out, is that directly out of was like just watching a reshowing of
sound design was like beautiful.
Yeah. No, I think all that's left is talking a little more about Gorman, right? And the job on Gorman. Yeah.
I don't know, the Gorman like Liberation Front.
Yep.
It all comes to there, but
we're talking about Vel and Cinta. Maybe we haven't gotten to Vel and Cinta yet.
We haven't talked about Andor much in this series of Andor.
Well, like, I mean, it goes back to Gorman as Varian Sky, like does his whole thing. I mean, the new transponder.
It's a quick read. He knows the whole deal. He's like, these guys are.
And he helps Bix with the Gorse stuff later, blows it up like the Joker at the end of the episode. Yeah. Great cap, great bookend for the episode.
Yeah,
he looks so great as Varian Sky. Cool. Like that looks so great. I love what
he's in the trailer. Yeah.
Yep, it's so good. I love
you almost want a Fox Star Wars story.
Yes.
Like you're almost like, can we just get the dandy, or the academia story? I almost want like where's Afra or like where's like stuff that's like can really delve into real like these characters.
Avon Sunvale
that's true. Carly was just like, the set design is insane in the show. Like what like on Gorman, she's just like, this is amazing, and just like and the way they did the costuming is so good, and just like,
I thought Chandrilla in the wedding was incredible too.
Yes,
it's just like that planet is just dripping and like the way people walk around and they're just gorgeous garb. I was like, is it just like every day for these people? Like this is.
It's going to win costuming and set design and Emmys. I mean, it should win everything, but it'll definitely win those.
Mon's estate alone.
Yeah.
And it's going to stand in such direct contrast to like their living situation on Yavin, where it's like now it's going to be drab and like
and I think she'll be fine with it. Like you know what I mean. I think that's what I love about that character is I feel like there's not going to be. I just hope they don't do the storyline of her just being like trying to adjust to this type of living. I'm like, no, she's well above that.
Yeah, I mean, but you're right. There needs to be a transition of power there where Mon really like fills a vacuum or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, she has to take charge because she's not. She's, as you said earlier, she's really just the bank at this point, which is interesting to think about. To go from that to be like the leader of the resistance.
Someone has to inspire all these like disorganized rebels, right? Like you guys alluded to on the last pod, which was brilliant, by the way. But you guys talked about the sort of rebels on Yavin 4 or the sort of ragtag, fighters.
Oh yeah.
who are undisciplined, sort of without guidance, like on Yavin.
In need of leadership. Yeah.
Desperately in need of leadership. Like, who is to lead these people? Who is to inspire them? I have to think it's Mon Mothma. I have to think Mon Mothma might take on like a messianic sort of like role to starfighter pilots and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I almost feel like that's what starfighters do. They like kiss their necklaces and like touch a picture of Mon Mothma and like go into battle. That's my imagination of what a starfighter pilot does. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I'm like, who galvanizes the rebellion? Like, who leads them?
That was so great about the costume design of the character originally. It's like this angelic, like ragtown, like dirty people being run by this like angel in white.
Yes,
that's like just like in this even tempered tone. And, like, this is how we're gonna do it, and everything is dire, but we're gonna get through it. And like it's really kind of a special juxtaposition there.
Yeah,
it was like a hippie revolution counterculture leader character. It was very cool. She was very mystical. It was very, honestly, it's almost like profound, those moments when they're doing the briefings in the original trilogy. It's very profound.
I just remember as a kid being like, who's this now? Like in not a bad way, but like just this like
so then
like
that
angel in white kind of in a weird way just like comes in and it's just like laying down the truth.
So we haven't talked about Gorman, but I really do think it's going to be I think there's going to be a mass like killing.
Yeah, I think so.
Of them, and I have to think it will happen off air, and it'll just be like a matter of fact.
I think you're right.
Is it not a bombardment? Is it not Cyril Karn who you kind of like really focus on during the bombardment or something? Like, to me, that's like what it feels like.
I don't think we're going to see it. We might. Yeah. I might be totally wrong, but
I think you get full occupation in the armory, secretly like a mining front for like to gather the calcite and transport it off world. Like, it's almost like everything's being built to get this calcite off world fast. Partagaz even says that early. The setup is,
and they just need to get
fast. Can you mine out of the way? Get it off?
Think about this. Next week we're 1 year away from the Death Star being operational. So that calcite's got to be out of there within.
Got to get out of there.
It's got to get out of there. So that's why
2 years.
Ben. It's got. No, we're going to be 1 year because next year's going to be 1 year BBY, or I'm sorry, BBY 1. I don't know why we're doing that.
They're going to say the spiders are lethal.
Oh wait, it's going to be
something. There's going to be flame troopers. There's going to be like extinguishing the hives or something. It's going to be a whole thing.
So something's really weird then. So the last episode can't abut to Rogue One.
It will.
How?
Well, this is BBY 2, and then
and then.
No, we need one more arc. We have one more arc after this, don't we?
I guess we're supposed to be a year out when we meet.
No, it's only 1 year later after each episode, but every episode's before Rogue One. It's only 1 year later. That's all you get.
I think technically Rogue One is one BBY. Because if you're leading up to the actual date,
who cares? I'll let.
No, I guess no, Ben. You're right. I mean, it's technically.
We get two more arcs.
You're right.
This was BBY 3, so next week will be BBY.
Wait, it's not 2. One BBY.
But then my argument. Wait. Then my argument stands because then it is only a year apart, right? Because BBY 2 is 1 year away from BBY 1, which is when Rogue One happens. So it's still just a year away from the Death Star being operational.
It is BBY. It is
0. So next week will be a year away.
1 year. So I'm agreeing with you, Ben. And I feel like this stuff has to happen before next week because that seems like too short of a time frame to then do that, then get the calcite, start a mining operation to get the calcite out, and then start using it on a Death Star. It feels like that had to start happening like right after this episode. I feel like
next week,
I feel like what happened at the end of this episode is going to justify. Like, they're not going to wait a year to do the crackdown. They're going to look these were they did this. They stole our stuff. Crackdown now. Everyone's gone. Kill the leaders. Destroy the planet.
To me, the crackdown
and like done in a month.
Be the crackdown because you got Vader going out there to extinguish people. They don't like the Empire does not care anymore. They're like, let's just have Vader just go ham on like anyone.
And we do know in A New Hope they've dissolved the Senate. Like, I mean, it kind of felt like it happened that year or that just at that minute. But like, I don't know. Maybe they dissolved the Senate 2 years before, like. And they've installed the moths by, the time we get to Rogue One. But I don't know. That could be why she's no longer a senator. There's no longer Senate.
And there's no major rebellion happening because of the Imperial briefing that occurs in A New Hope. That's like any planet that like stands up to the Empire, like we will.
Yeah, they're full.
The Death Star will be the most destructive force in the galaxy.
We will rule through fear.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
and
they're
so it's
all
like
the way there, which is
so
exactly
there's no
what
real
we want.
planet of name
Yeah.
that is rebellion, essentially.
The Senate was dissolved in the middle of A New Hope, because I was looking at the line, because basically what it says is like the rebellion will continue to gain support in the Imperial Senate, and then Vader says the Imperial Senate will be no longer be of any concern to us. I just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the council permanently. So like, and then the last remnants of the old. I just want to keep saying it because I love that.
It's the best
I bet Mon Mothma was the like catalyst that led to that.
Yeah.
Like I bet she was the reason that like they're like we can't even trust senators anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like the leader of the rebellion came out of the Senate. How can we let this stand? Yeah.
That's why it's being dissolved. Yeah.
Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want two tubes update?
Sure.
Yes.
So it's Benthic. Benthic two tubes is the main one we say.
That's it. I think Ben got it. I think after all our attempts, Ben finally got it. It was hard to get there.
Great.
It is so hard to do.
So the only reason I'm breaking in with this is because it's driving me insane. So Benthic two tubes is two tubes, right? But his brother is named Edrio. Let's go Edrio. Edrio two tubes. Okay.
They're related.
Yes. Here's what's driving me insane.
He's not one tube, he's not three tubes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Keep going.
The two shared the nickname derived from the breathing apparatus that allows their tongue breath physiology to yada yada yada. They shared a nickname.
They had the same nickname.
How does that work?
Lazy.
So when they in that scene where he goes talk to tubes, I'd be like, which one? That's insane. That's insane.
I know that would be actually a funny bit if he said that.
I feel like two tubes has our six covered, and they both think it's the other two tubes, and then they're dead. Like that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not the kind of guy you want to ask stuff of by accident,
right?
It's like you don't want to mess with two tubes. He's just going to vaporize you.
Sorry, I had to break it because that's
his Shakespearean arc is that he loses his brother and he's two tubes and there's a duality. And
I mean, he does lose his brother because Benthic makes it through Rogue One. He shows up in the comics, but his brother doesn't. And
Benthic makes it through?
Yeah, when Luke goes to Jeddah,
he's all the way to Jeddah. Yeah,
in the destroyed Jeddah, he meets Benthic. Benthic is one of the only partisans left alive still in Jeddah. Yeah.
Wild.
Is this with the cult of the Central Isopter and all that stuff? Is it that?
Yes, they're all from Jeddah at the time because they know what's about to happen.
No, there's
all the audience members just turned the podcast off. They were
they went to start googling stuff. They're like, tell me more.
NBA playoffs, NBA playoff time. Let's just talk NBA playoffs as the playoffs occur, and you'll get your answer soon enough.
Sorry, you need to pick that up. You might have recorded. I'm so sorry, guys. It might be my connection. It's probably my connection, but I've been losing you like every.
No. I think it is yours. Like, because Grant and I are because I each other, and you're getting kind of grainy.
I'm sorry.
I know it's okay. It was my turn last week. It's your turn this week.
All right. So Grant, can you pick it up from all of our listeners are about to turn this off because of the cult of the center?
All right. So all of our listeners are about to turn this podcast off right now. I know that we're getting sort of
they're loving it. They're loving it. They're gonna Google this stuff.
This isn't a podcast.
Definitely check out the cult of the Central Isopter. Yeah, definitely get into that at some point because it's very fun. And Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars main run does some wild stuff. So
in 5 more years, this is going to be the pod of the Central Isopter. Like that's how much I love doing
That's going to be that should be
episode
update.
Episode 1000 should be pod.
Well, I'll just wear clothes.
I think that's like the half that. Or wait, what are they obsessed with? Like nothingness? Like I don't know.
No.
However many zeros.
World destruction.
World destruction. World ending events. Yeah.
Yeah. World ending events.
Which means, I mean, there's a chance. See, this is the thing. So maybe if we do cut back to
2012, episode 2012 will be.
We go back. If we go back to the planet, maybe we'll see them there right before the destruction. Maybe this is our chance to maybe see them in live action if we do see the planet in Are
you saying in Andor? We'll see
in Andor, maybe. If you're wrong and we do go back.
Saw has to find the catacombs of Khadora on Jeddah.
Someone needs to see the cult of the Central Isopter and be like, "Oh no!" Like on Jeddah, like Saw's got to see them and be like, "Oh God!" Like
I just want to see
like some problem. Like
he has to see the convocation of the Force and be like,
"Oh,
yes, tell me more," and then like learn all their stuff, and then just be like, "Okay, take all those teachings and then bring it into his crazy partisan group and just conduct more mass killings.
Right. When's he gonna meet Borgullet?
Oh yeah, he has to abduct Borgullet or grab a Borgullet.
I didn't even think about that. We might get a Borgullet. Borgullet.
Adam now needs a Borgullet acquiring.
Borgullet. I mean, give me a Black Series, or just make me also like I want to watch it. The other thing, next season,
you get a Borgullet figure. That's crazy.
They might have made one. I don't know, but I don't remember seeing it. But that was a little before I went to really hardcore collecting Black Series or paying attention. Not really collecting, but paying attention. I
think they need a dupe. Or not dupe, Claude and Borgullet. Like I think we need Borgullet, Claude, Dianoga. There is a Dianoga. I haven't seen that.
Now, is there a 2 tubes Black Series? That's the next question. So next week we have to meet K2SO because they had to have been together for more than like
5 minutes.
So they had to. They have to.
About that too.
And Alan Tudyk is like just printing money. It's just like the most. Incredible. I don't know if you guys watch Star Wars Celebration, but like just the ovation that Tudyk got and like what Tudyk means to people.
He's a treasure.
Honestly, it's like understated. K2 in Rogue One too is like the heart of the movie, which is weird when you like make that. And like B2 obviously is also the heart of the show. Like they've kind of like embedded the heart of the story in the droid most of the time. Tony Gilroy has been happy to do that, and it's very fun. And
it's like we need the heart.
The heart in different ways.
Need a heart right now.
B2 is just dependent on Cassian and dependent. Like it feels like honestly, like I never like to relate droids to like pets or anything like that. But like I do feel like B2 is very much like
very much like a
dog that's like dependent on us and like needs us at all times.
Different levels of droid. There was a scene when they were talking. There was an interview with all the cast, and it's one of my favorite things where it was Alan Tudyk and Diego Luna sitting next to each other, and the interviewer was asking Alan Tudyk about it, and he was talking about it for a while, and then he started patting his legs, like he was just talking, like just patting his legs, and like nothing was happening, and he's talking and talking and talking, and he kept patting his legs, and he finally looked over to Diego Luna and was like, the signal we came up with. The signal where you're supposed to take over, and literally you see the people in back also patting their legs, like trying to get like I'm gonna spill it. Like that was the signal they had, and they were all like laughing and saying Diego Luna was like I forgot, like just like that was a signal of like Alan Tudyk was like get me out of trouble. I'm going to accidentally.
Alan Tudyk is so savvy too because for him to do press that early and having known now that he's actually just not a part of the show till much later in the show, but he's probably going to be a massive impact because for us viewers, it's like he is the big canon character, quote unquote, that we're like really waiting for in a big way. Where we're like, I cannot wait for the K2 moments. How Andor reprograms K2.
A main part of
K2's birth was alluded to at Star Wars Celebration, which is like fascinating to me. I'm like, there's a birthing process that almost happens?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Yes.
Relearning to walk. Who knows? Like maybe like but like it could be a really big part of next week's.
It's almost like it's like an evil ChatGPT having to be good, which is very interesting. Right? It's like wow, this thing is just trying to think about the most evil stuff imaginable, and then it's like
It's also why I think
not
Bix
detain people for 5 seconds.
I think Bix is leaving because I think that's going to be like you can't leave Cassian completely alone. So I think like that's the transition, right? Bix leaves now. B2
inherits.
Wait, where is B2 right now?
Or
back on
K2. I mean,
K2. No, you mean B2.
I meant B2.
Where is B2? I'm just worried about B2 right now.
They left him on
B2. He's back on
whatever that planet was called from last week.
No, not My Pay.
Mina Rao.
Mina Rao.
Mina Rao.
Mina Rao.
Yeah, with the family. Yeah. Which is probably
I don't know if we'll ever see him again.
I don't think we will.
We'll see B again.
I don't think so. I think he's gone in a good way. I think he's happy. I mean, I think he's safe at least.
But somewhere he's pining for his owner, and he's like, "Where's Cassian?" And Cassian's
Cassian
dead on Scarab.
Cassian. Yeah, Cassian will want to know about these dreams.
That's every time I see B2, I'm just gonna cry now because all he wants is to like snuggle with his owner, and like his owner's like, I gotta go save the galaxy.
Just be with that droid. Jeez.
Just be with that droid. That droid needs you more.
Yes, be that with that really cute, adorable, friendly, nice droid. Like you wouldn't want that.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, I'm going to cut it there on a high note. Would be because like we can pontificate about next week, but we're going to just be talking about next week.
I know.
Week. So
cannot wait.
Cannot wait. Yeah, going to be excited. I do think we're going to like hit hyperspace in the next arc. This will be Dan Gilroy will probably write the next arc, I think, and then we'll get Tony for the last one.
We'll finish it up. Yeah.
That's the way they did in the first season, so that should be cool. Actually, no, that's not right. I think Bo did the
Willimage crushing.
Yeah, crushing.
Yeah.
I think he did the prison
Clyburn
sequence last.
Incredible director, by the way. Yeah.
Well, it's just great because there was no like arc that felt lesser to me last season, and so they all just have like a little bit of flavor, different flavor in a way that still feels like I love it. Like again, this whole arc was just felt very much Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, very just spy crafty. Loved it. Last episode was just a little more like of a pot boiler thriller in a way. So I love that they give you a little bit of different flavor every time. Yeah. So
I just love that I'm going to have this like 12-hour prequel to A New Hope.
Right.
I'm going to be able to watch for the rest of my life. It's going to be great.
Like damn near perfect, right? Like that's the other thing too. Is just like I cannot believe after watching season 1 over again how just nearly perfect that whole thing is.
That's perfect television.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. This has been a great week. Great to have Grant back, and we're going to talk to you next week on Cantina Chronicles.